to start. My name? It's Ethan. Ethan Winters. It's been 3 years since everything happened at the Baker house. I was looking for my wife, who disappeared. I got an email from her. She told me to come get her. And of course, that's how I ended up in the middle of nowhere, Louisiana. I found Mia being held captive in a dark basement. She wasn't thinking right. She attacked me like some kind of wild animal. Later on, I found out that she was infected by a special kind of mold. I looked all over the house trying to find an antidote, a vaccine, anything. The people who lived there were already infected. What was left of them wasn't human. The source of the infection was a bioweapon that looked like a little girl. Her name was Evelyn. I fought the fucked up family and was able to treat Mia's symptoms with a serum. Then Chris Redfield and his soldier buddies showed up and saved the both of us. Is that enough? I really don't want to talk about what happened anymore. It's all over now. Carol killed her husband. You won't have it. Carol killed her husband. You won't ever change my mind. Carol killed her husband. You won't ever change my mind.
Yo, Trofimov's 1968, what's up, bub? And how's your member? Yeah, that was for those who had not played. But that was at the. I didn't have a. Like, I didn't go into settings like I just did and go to movies. That was. I started up the game and it asked me, do you want to. Yes or no? This is the incident. Sure. It's the incident report apparently from after the fact. This report depicts my investigation into the evidence after the incidents at the Baker's residence. Baker incident. See, this ain't taking place like back in. Yeah. In July 2017, a number of people lost their lives at the residence in the middle of American countryside. It was a truly horrific tragedy. I still don't know the exact number of victims. Two survivors, husband and wife, Ethan and Mia Winters, were able to shed some light on the events, which would have shook the world, but there was a cover-up and the Winters vanished. There's someone or something powerful acting behind the scenes, I just know it. I decided to investigate the following the breadcrumbs of what happened after. How can I be so sure? Because I'm someone who was there. First of all, how was this incident reported upon its discovery by the world? How was this incident reported upon its discovery upon the world? Let's take a look at some newspaper clippings from that time to see how the news manipulated. 1. Discovery of the incident. Family of 4 found dead in Dovey. Dovey County Sheriff's Office have reported that the Baker's family were found dead in their home in North Dovey on 21st July. The surrounding deaths are currently unknown apart from the deaths of Jack Baker, his wife Marguerite, their son Lucas, and daughter Zoe. Deputy Sheriff Dave Anderson has also been missing since the 19th, according to Deputy Sheriff Riley Whitfield. That's the one who was at the door that I was asking for his gun, and that fucking pipe came through his face. social media, bruh. It's real. That's what happens when y'all motherfuckers post everything we got on social media. Probably killed the whole family, then off this album week. Transcript of a complaint to the county sheriff's office. I don't believe it's been 2 days already, but you haven't reported anything else. Was it murder, an accident, suicide? And what was the National Guard sealing the place off? What are y'all hiding? Very little was reported shortly after the Baker incident was reported, leading to rapid spread of rumors and speculations. Bakers were completely isolated from the rest of the community and sealed off the entire area around the home, setting things in motion. I recall there sure was a lot of public pressure on the press for information. Goes for 80 pages, bro. Read it. I was gonna say, you guys, y'all want to read that? You better pause quickly. Pause that shit and like throw it down and like. I give you guys what I can, not what you deserve. Obviously, I want my reticle blue. You see. There we go. I got Windows full screen. I should. Really goddamn get. There we go. Same thing.
Carol killed her husband. You won't ever change my mind.
The computer would blow up if I tried to run at full speed for this. want to know what that looks like. I feel like that'd be dope. Man, I don't think so. I don't want it to be like stuck like it. So you don't see the tape. Oh, I forgot that it's got the little, it's got like shit moving, so maybe I can see what it would look like with it turned all the way.
Carol killed her husband. You won't ever change my mind.
It says 12
Carol
gigabytes.
killed
Damn.
her husband. You won't ever change my mind. Carol killed her husband. You won't ever change my mind.
Yo, Vivo La Hobo, what's up, bro? She looks good as fuck.
Long ago, a young girl went with her mother to pick berries for her father, who was hard at work. But the forest greeted them with a dark, cold silence, the bushes empty. Yet determined to find the berries, the rascal broke free from Mother's grasp and vanished into the trees. Mother's worried cries faded fast as the girl ran on, over vine and under branch, and into the forest deep. Feeling strange eyes upon her, the girl recalled Mother's scary bedtime tales, and her throat became bone dry. Then the Bat Lord appeared. He greeted her warmly and bit his own wing. "Come, child, quench your thirst," he said. So she drank the thick, dark blood and smiled with joy. Passing through the graveyard, menacing storm clouds loomed, and the air turned bitingly cold. The girl was shivering in her thin clothes. Then a dark weaver appeared, and with a click of his fingers, crafted mist into a beautiful
I don't know why it does that either.
dress. Come, child.
I changed my
warm
settings.
yourself, he coaxed. So she clothed herself and smiled.
Even when I turn my
joy.
thing off, it stays on.
Across waters deep and ominous she went, hoping a boat she found would carry her home. But hunger's grip tightened and her heart grew heavy. Then the Fish King appeared and offered one of his many fins. Come, child, eat your fill. So the girl ate and smiled with
This bitch will
joy
put anything in her
once
mouth,
more.
won't she?
Continuing on, she soon entered the forest's dark heart. Then an iron steed appeared, bearing a beautiful golden gear. The creature said nothing as the girl approached and snatched what she thought was another gift. The horse grew angry and summoned the other monsters. Terror filled the girl's heart as the wild wind rose around the beasts. Suddenly, a witch appeared, dark yet regal. Gifts we gave, but more you took, she snarled. So more in turn is due. In a blink, the girl was trapped inside a mirror. There. She's asleep.
What is with the creepy story? She's only 6 months old.
Woman at the store said it was traditional. A local tale. Besides, Rose doesn't seem to mind.
Because she doesn't understand it. Thank God. We moved here so that she wouldn't have to deal with any of that, remember?
There's nothing wrong with my memory. You're just being paranoid.
It's not... Never mind. I'm sorry. But I'm not paranoid. I'm just cautious.
Then, go cautiously take your daughter to bed. I'll finish dinner.
It's okay, Rose. Your mother doesn't want to remember it. I can't blame her.
Did you say something?
Nothing. I'll put her down.
Carol killed her husband. You won't ever change my mind.
There. It's like I said to your mom. That book's too scary for you.
She's gonna send me up here and see how you gonna send me upstairs in the house? I don't know where the bedroom is.
Why do I even keep this around? I should get rid of it someday. Gotta do a deep clean before Rose starts walking around.
How'd he pick that up? How'd he do that? He just picked a newspaper up and is reading it while he's holding his baby. Not when it's sleeping. That's a fat ass baby. Curtain closes on the Dovey gas incident. Oh, it was a gas incident. A gas leak. Gas leak turned that bitch into a swarm of whatever the fuck that thing was. That's some shit they do then. Jack Baker, 57. Bro, that man had some old man strength, I guess. Superhuman old man strength. I seen him pick up a fucking car, but okay. Alright, guys, we'll go. Ethan Winters and his wife are also believed to have been nearby, but their current whereabouts are unknown. The entire area has been closed off by officials who believe it will be at least 10 years before the area is habitable again. Damn. That's not a gas leak, bro. There's no kind of gas leak that 10 years before you can able to go back in the area. No. No.
Everyone's forgotten about this already. Your mama and I love this song so much. Almost there, honey. I wish it could stay like this forever. It's not paranoia if they're really out to get you.
Savage. I was at his thing looking at his book and I clicked. It says Gun Survivors Heavy Firearms Manual for Field Combat Specialists. He said, not paranormal if they really are out to get you.
Well, hi there, little Rose. Rose is fine.
Yes. No, Mom. You ain't got no Worcestershire sauce up there to cook it with. I don't want none of your meatloaf. Second time she's asked me. I already told her once. Nope.
Can't keep your mother waiting. She's scary when she's angry.
That's not even the right choice of words, bud.
Time for bed. There you go, sweetheart. Don't you worry. I'll be right downstairs. Daddy won't let those weird fairy tale monsters get you.
Who? Hmm. Where that thing at? You don't like open carry every day now, Sunset? I would. A big ass pistol on my hip, like every day.
She's asleep.
Just weird. I don't like those.
Hey, keep it down.
God
Just
damn.
making sure it's locked.
Yeah. Scared the shit out of me. Yelling at me and shit.
Mia makes everything by hand, so this stuff keeps piling up.
Is she okay?
Sleeping like a baby. That smells good. What's that?
Oh, hands off, mister. It's churba de legume. It's a local recipe.
Wow, you've gone full native, haven't you?
Local wine, too. But if you're gonna keep sulking all evening, maybe you shouldn't have any. You really have to stop worrying.
It's just...
Carol killed her husband.
You military training, it all happens so fast, you know?
Well, at least we're all together. You, me, Rose.
The military training, it all happens so
Now,
fast, and now this man's had military
everything's gonna
training.
Seriously? Think we can just forget about what happened in Louisiana?
It happened so long ago. I don't understand why you are so...
Damn!
Mia, get down!
Damn! I mean, I already know the answer.
Mia, oh God.
This was in the trailer. Everybody knew this was coming.
Chris? What the hell?
Sorry, Ethan.
No! What? Why?
Chris Redfield from the first, like, 4 games.
Go move!
All clear. Rose? What the hell you doing with my daughter?
Package secure, sir. Take him away.
I said get your hands off her!
Ethan, no.
Rose.
Get him out there.
Hey, Doc.
Hello, Mr. Winters. I've got your daughter's results back, and I'd like you to come in to talk about them. How about next Thursday, 4 o'clock?
No problem. We'll be there. That was the doc. She'll see us next week. Hey, now. Think positively, all right? We talked about this.
I know. We hardly talk about anything else. I keep telling you, it's not Rose that I'm worried about.
Well, then what are you worried about? Look, she's gonna be fine. I just know it. What else matters?
We matter, Ethan! You matter! You just...
Mia, what are you talking about? Is there something you're not telling me? Come on, talk to me. Damn it. I have to take this. Jesus.
About damn time. What's your status? Is the package safe?
What are you talking about? Where's Chris Redfield? And Rose?
Who is this? This is a secure channel. You are not authorized to use it.
Fuck.
It looks like my silver phone.
What the hell happened here?
Damn. Not cool. What is that? Oh, what the? Dinner. Damn. Where is that? Oh, one of them's alive. It's crazy, bro. Look. Yeah. pretty good alarm system, I bet. Because I know you're just thinking, oh, motherfucker. I seen feet, boy. Well, you better shut that goddamn door if you're coming in, bro. Oh, you just gonna leave it open and be stupid? Alright. That probably means I'm about to get fucked up in here. Well, goddamn. I hate games like this. A knife in here or something? Can I get that? Let me get that spoon. I don't give a fuck. I'll kill the motherfucker with this spoon. I think I won't. Give me the spoon. Oh, little old lady. I'm gonna have to murder a little old lady. But she ain't a little old lady anymore. Oh, fucker. Ain't got nothing. Oh yeah, that's right. You gotta block shit in this game. Oh, fucking god. And well, that don't look like Jeebus. What does that mean? Chaka Zulu Nation? I don't understand. You know what that means? I don't. Oh. I'm about to murder somebody on this stand. This saw table right here. I would better do it. Bro? Oh, damn, I thought it was gonna be standing behind me. Sure what I thought. Who's here? I ain't scared of nothing. Now it's daylight. I love how your concern is what did all this, not how it became daylight in fucking 3 minutes. Not discuss that. Okay.
Where the hell am I?
Boom. Resident Evil. Should have did. You guys missed a opportunity there. You guys fucking suck. Had the crow flying and everything. You know what I'm saying? Good look, that was a nice ass little. And then the crow flew out, and then I just like kind of like had to look off to the side, and then boom, Resident Evil. That'd have been fire. Oh, you guys need to hire me. Shut up, Joe. Where are you going? Drink? Or a beer? I was gonna say, cause I have to go get her from work. Not my car.
Maybe they're out.
Hey, where are you going with that body? What the fuck? That was me. I just walked out and they were just there was legs like getting dragged around the corner, and then I ran to the corner and there was nothing there. What is he doing, Fizz? It's just super sketchy. Do I have to take a shit? Let me in. The worst village ever. Can't even open door to our house. Why does that sound like carnival music? No, I see a bunch of heads.
What happened?
Yo, folks at 13, thanks for the follow over on Twitch, bud. No idea. Not like hitting me. I don't really care what about all these noises. It's dope. I mean, they're probably gonna have to turn around to get away. Something like. You sure? And like it was trying to glass. We got a flashlight, hello. Your eyes readjusted. Don't open. I was making sure none of this shit opened. I fucking figured that, Joe.
Did they just run out of the house?
No, they didn't. Turn around. Oh shit!
Who are you? Who sent
That guy fucking sucks dick at aiming.
Accident down the road and... What's going on?
Hey, you got a gauge and miss from 2 feet away.
Oh no. They're coming.
Who is? What the hell was that?
You have a gun?
What?
Please tell me you have a gun.
No, why would I?
Take it! Take it!
Hey, are you listening?
Hey!
What the?
Why are you waiting for it to finish? Hey, there's something right there. There's something right there, nigga.
Dead body?
A bunch of dead bodies.
Wait, there's more.
Who are you talking to? I don't need you to narrate for me, bro. Who's alive down here? Who's gonna give me the jump scare? You? Or like missing a face or something.
Jesus Christ. What the hell is wrong with this place?
Is it the same dude? Bro, I will shoot this thing square in the face. I don't need friends. Ow! My fucking fingers. This guy can not catch a break with that goddamn hand, bro. No, remember he got stabbed through that bitch in the fucking number 7.
What the fuck was that?
You shoot this thing in the fucking face. Not really, I'm gonna run.
No.
Yeah, that's what I said. Defending is a lot. apparently about this one.
What the hell?
I said, where's that dude's body at? So he had a gun. You have anything else in it? Bolt cutters, sweet. See, normal people do it, they're like, oh, we gotta get away from here. And then they're gonna have to come back here later and find these bolt cutters. I didn't even know that was an option. So what, this dude and his fucking gun and... that or these motherfucker had batteries in his pockets. What you got in the shed, bro? Yes. Damn, so they've trapped me in that yard with this motherfucker. I had to kill him. Where'd my friend dead body go? That's my friend for life. He gave me a gun. My bad, I ain't know, my bad. Not a part of other games. And I'm gonna go ahead and say they killed my friend. Just throw my friend's body at me? I only knew him for like 2 seconds, but he gave me a gun. And anybody gives you a gun is friends for life. What? Something swinging at me?
Surrounded. Damn it.
Don't think so. What does that say? That said something. Open the door, bitch. Still had to open the door.
Is it over?
No one's about to pop through as soon as you walk out. They know you're here. Why would it be over? What?
Hello. If there are any survivors out there, come to Louisa's house near the fields.
Survivors?
How the fuck are we supposed to know where Louisa's house is? It's just to make it easier for me to run circles. I still hear the oh shit, bro. You see him? On the roof? Bro? Yeah, don't even try that shit, bro. I got that thing on me.
Damn it.
Is it Mom? Sweet. I don't know.
Resident Evil Village, the 8th Resident Evil game, is almost here. So before you take on werewolves and monsters and big vampire ladies, we're here to get you.
Carol killed her husband.
Get
You
right
won't
into it and
ever
start off
change
with
my
number
mind.
10 and talk about the story. Resident Evil Village kicks off a few years after the events of Resident Evil 7. Ethan and Mia Winters have seemingly settled down and had a child named Rosemary until, of course, as revealed in the first trailer, Chris Redfield and a squad drops in, kidnaps a baby, and Ethan somehow ends up in a remote European, possibly Romanian village, and he has to get to the bottom of things and save his daughter. There's a ritual, a worship of a Mother Miranda, and there are hot vampire ladies that want to get at Ethan for some reason. Also, they're werewolves, sort of. So there's obviously still a lot of mystery to this one, and I think that's the point. Personally, I have tons of questions, and I can't wait to see some answers. We're not going to spend too much time speculating here, although there is tons of that if you want to look for it, and also just look out for spoilers out there. And it's important to answer this, since we always get the question, is this a good place to start? Do I need to go back and play 7 other games before this one? Well, it's complicated, but the short answer is you should probably at the very least just play Resident Evil 7 if you've never touched any of these games. It's a mostly new adventure with a new character. You're gonna miss out on some fan service stuff, and who knows where the hell this story is gonna go in Village, but if you're newer to the series, don't worry, you'll be just fine. But also, as your video game dad, I'm gonna yell at you and tell you to play all of them. Next, over at number 9, let's talk gameplay and combat changes. Resident Evil Village is once again played from a first-person perspective. Love it or hate it, and I'm a little mixed as an old school fan, this is where the series is at now, and it can make for some pretty harrowing moments. But what exactly is different compared to the, straightforward, simple gameplay of 7? Firstly, it does look like Ethan might be a better shot this time around, seeing as how he's much more accustomed to handling a weapon. You'll notice in one of the gameplay demos, he kind of reloads a pistol like a badass now. A lot of fans have pointed out that the reload animation for the shotgun is altogether much faster. But thankfully, this game doesn't look to be going all John Wick. Aiming and shooting is still a bit slower than your average game, a bit more deliberate, and survival horror-y, if that makes sense. Little things do seem to have been added, like using the environment to your advantage. In the demo, we saw the idea of striking sacks of flour to then puff it in the air and break line of sight with enemies to temporarily conceal you. This might come in handy because now stalking enemies are back. The big hot lady, whose name I can't pronounce, will stalk you throughout the environment in certain sequences, similar to Mr. X from Resident Evil 2 or Jack Baker in the hallways of the early parts of RE7. Defeated enemies will drop a currency which you can pick up and spend at specific points, similar to Resident Evil 4 and 5, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit. At number 8, let's talk inventory and map and just pausing the game type systems. First, Ethan picks up maps and notes and files in the environment that you can then access through a tab in typical Resident Evil fashion. You can also access his own journal, which has notes and apparently Nathan Drake style sketches and doodles throughout. And this journal keeps track of your progress. The inventory system has seen a very nice little change up. The game, the village vibe, all that is clearly taking some inspiration from the classic Resident Evil 4, and the biggest inspiration seems to be the inventory system. It's really similar to 4's famous attaché case briefcase system thing. It's grid-based, and you can try to maneuver and fit as many things as you can, although you're limited to these grids. It's fun inventory management because it kind of makes you feel like you have a bit more control over things, but it's still tight and stressful in a good survival horror way, and it's a little addictive. And within this system, you're also able to craft useful items with stuff you pick up, like ammo and first aid. You'll swap between the inventory and the crafting and other screens as tabs with triggers, and crafting looks like your basic 2-item combination to make something else. A special chemical and an herb, boom, first aid medicine. Will it get more complicated or surprising than that? Who knows? But thanks to a Game Informer report, we know that you can also hunt random animals roaming around the environment, like goats, pigs, chicken, fish, stuff like that, and they drop meat that you can use for survival crafting too. Which, speaking of survival crafting, that leads us to number 7. First, we gotta talk about the Duke. This over-the-top looking dude is basically the new "what are you buying" merchant guy, and throughout the game you'll find him at his cart doing random things, waiting for you to show up and make a purchase. This is of course where you're going to be spending that hard-earned currency you pick up in your adventure. You can also sell collectibles you find in the environment for more coin too. So you access him and you'll be able to buy supplies like health, crafting stuff, and ammunition, and also access the gunsmithy weapon upgrade screen. We'll talk more about weapons in a little bit, but you're able to take that meat you harvested from hunting animals and bring it to this dude's tab called the Duke's Kitchen. Spend a certain number and combinations of these meats to permanently upgrade Ethan and his attributes in seemingly useful ways. From that Game Informer video, which we linked below, we see Ethan cashing in some meat to make a dish that then grants a permanent reduction in damage taken while guarding. I wonder how many of these crafted meals will be a big game changer, and I wonder if any of them get even weirder in that typical freaky Resident Evil style. We'll just have to wait and see a little bit longer. Next, over at number 6, let's talk weapons. Now, we have a list gathered of confirmed weapons via Dexerto.com. If you don't want to know what weapons you pick up and you want to be surprised for yourself, which I think is half the fun, maybe skip ahead about 1 minute. Now, we don't know all of the weapons to prioritize. What seems really cool though is that you can also acquire weapon specific upgrades for guns, like a scope or a different stock for the sniper rifle, that then act as like additional upgrades that serve more weapon specific purposes like recoil and stuff. I love stuff like this. It's very classic Resident Evil, so definitely keep your eyes peeled for stuff like this throughout the game. Now at number 4, we have the graphics and all the visual eye candy that the game has to offer. The RE engine is rock solid, dude. From the remakes to 7 to Monster Hunter and Devil May Cry 5, it's capable of a lot with good frame rates. And now with Resident Evil Village, it seems like Capcom has achieved a pretty good balance between beautifully creepy visuals and art style and rock solid performance with all the different platforms. They have posted these expected performance targets here. Of course, this is pre-launch though. We don't know for certain, but this is at least what they're aiming for. Even the last gen machines look pretty decent on paper with 4K 30 and 1080p 60 modes on the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro. And also that weird 45 FPS frame rate on PS4, if they manage to keep it stable, it could be the place to play, at least on base consoles. But we all know why we are here, to hear about the newer gen versions. PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X are pretty much the same with 2 modes, 4K 60 and 4K 45 frames per second with ray tracing. Hey, maybe we would have preferred 1440p 60, but still a 15 FPS loss for ray tracing is a small price to pay, especially if it looks cool. Also, all things considered, here are the PC requirements, minimum and recommended. Definitely let us know if you're going to be playing this on PC and what you can expect with your rig. We'd want to hear from you. Now down to number 3, Resident Evil Village will be launching with more than just a single player campaign. First, there's the RE-verse or reverse multiplayer mode that we've known about for a little while now. It's a player versus player deathmatch mode, and you can play as characters from the last 3 Resident Evil games, 7, the 2 remake, and the 3 remake, but no Ethan Winters. It seems like they just really don't want to give this dude a face. So you shoot each other and it looks kind of awkward, but we're willing to give it a try, and if you die, you can come back as a bioweapon like Nemesis or Jack Baker. And honestly, it looks fine, maybe good for some hardcore fans, a nice little diversion, but it doesn't seem like anything that's going to completely blow up or anything. Then we have the newly announced Mercenaries mode, which is a fan favorite. It still seems to be the fast-paced mercenaries we know and love, but with some changes this time around. For one, there are abilities that the player can get that will give higher defense or more speed, for example, and there will be an item shop that you can visit in between levels. Unfortunately, they only showed Ethan Winters playable, which is kind of a bummer because getting to play as other weird characters with all different loadouts and the other iterations of the mode was always the best part of it. Maybe there are other characters and they're just not showing us. We don't know for sure yet, but we're still looking forward to diving into it. The more modes, the better sometimes. Next at number 2, Capcom has been nicely upfront with showing us parts of the game, and with demos, they're letting us try before we buy. There are some annoying caveats with it though. Still, I just miss when like every game had a demo. It's nice to see when they do pop up. Anyways, Village has a bunch. First, there was the Maiden demo that dropped about 2 months ago, only on PlayStation. It was more of like an experiential thing where it's not part of the main game. You just play as someone stuck in the manor trying to escape. It was way more exploration based, but still cool and atmospheric. Now we've got 2 more demos, and this is where things get a bit complicated, love it or hate it. The first demo, the Village gameplay demo, is right now only available on PlayStation consoles and allows some exploration and some combat in the Village central area. It was only available to play for a certain number of hours, between April 17th and April 19th, depending on your region. It was pretty cool, although it did show quite a bit of small early story moments. Some fans might want
Carol killed her husband.
Then there's another gameplay demo coming, again exclusive to PlayStation consoles, which is an interior castle section. And it's the same deal, 30 minutes of gameplay, and the demo is only available for a certain period of time. It's available here on screen. Then, thankfully, there's a demo that anyone on any platform can access, PlayStation, Xbox, or PC. This one will have both of the previous sections, and there's a 24-hour period to play it and check it out. This one drops in early May, closer to the game's release. Feels like a little bit of an overly complicated marketing stunt to make all these demos annoying to kind of generate more hype, but still, again, at least being able. And we're back with another episode of Before You Buy, that show where we give you some straight up gameplay and our first impressions of the latest games releasing. As usual, it's me, your old pal Jake Baldino, and today we're finally talking about Resident Evil Village. This is a direct follow-up to RE7. They are continuing down the first-person survival horror path, only this time the action is bigger and the horror is, like, zanier. Now, I'm not gonna waste your time. Real quick, Village is great. It's got some weird bits, and I don't know if it's quite as strong or as consistent as 7, but that might vary by your personal preference really more than anything. But long story short, if you enjoyed 7, you're probably going to enjoy this one, especially thanks to some nice new surprises and some really cool moments. But there's a lot to explain, so before we get in, just so you know, Capcom sent us the game early, so I've been able to see through the entire campaign and start replaying it again. This is captured on PlayStation 5, and importantly for you, no spoilers. I'm only showing the first few hours or so. A lot of this you may have seen in the demo. Half of this game is the surprises, so we tried to limit what you see here. And just one disclaimer, keep in mind, I've been a fan of the series since the original, and this was my most anticipated game of the year, so I'm coming in it from that angle. I really liked 7. I still wish the series was third person and more Resident Evil-y, but for the sake of argument, I'm going to put that aside and take this game in as is. Anyways, in this one, it picks up a little while after the events of 7, where the main character, Ethan Winters, and his wife have settled down now and had a baby. And as the first reveal trailer
Carol killed her husband.
does some things and kidnaps the baby,
You won't
and
have
very
it.
quickly
Carol killed her husband.
creepy, spooky village way out in seemingly the Romanian wilderness. Despite the light inspirations from Resident Evil 4, this feels a lot like 7 in that it's an adventure that constantly tries to one-up itself with weirdness and horror craziness the entire time. And you go from zone to zone that each feel like a different horror-themed amusement park inspired by a certain type of horror trope. Like, remember each Baker family member had their own area and vibe of horror? Well, so do the characters in Village. Now, the big question I always like to answer, and it's always asked, it's been asked a lot here, do you need to play all of the other Resident Evil games? No, technically, but I think you should. I'm going to dad you about that. But really, if you just want to play 8, you should at least play 7 first. Think of Resident Evil 7 as a good jumping off point for new fans. This is a direct sequel, and although the game gives you like a 60-second previously on type video, it's not quite enough. So try and find a time to play 7. But anyway, the game centers around this village. It's a collection of ramshackle buildings and plenty of secrets in the shadow of a massive castle. You venture away from the village to do cool stuff, but after every big moment or clearing an area or a boss, you always end up venturing back to this village, and you can usually use something new that you got to get access to another small area of the village and find new secrets and stuff. Now, this is where a lot of the meat of the game lies, and that's where its cleverness really is. The main paths are pretty straightforward. It's more combat heavy compared to 7. Ethan is more capable and trained now, and the game gives you way more in terms of ammo, weapon choices, and opportunity. There are still moments where you can be slick and avoid some combat, but for the most part, you're dumping lots of bullets into one of only a few different enemy types. The bosses are really cool, but for like the moment-to-moment enemies, I wish we saw a few more. They got a little boring after a while. Still, the gunplay is really satisfying, from the feedback of the weapons to the sound of them. And like, even though Ethan and I guess me, if you can tell by the gameplay, like we're not the best aim, it's still satisfying to blow someone back with a shotgun blast or get that perfect headshot pop splatter on a werewolf charging at you at full speed. It still has somewhat of a decent survival horror feel. While I think 7 got the resource management like just right, 8 gives you some more, but you still feel desperate a good amount of the time. You're constantly crafting yourself health, ammo, and throwables, and the sense of dread, the fear of running out of stuff is still there, but it's still not as intense. Pro tip, I definitely recommend if you're a veteran of the series to skip standard mode or skip normal mode. I thought normal was pretty tense in 7, but in 8 here, it's mostly a cakewalk. It's pretty easy, and I barely died. I am about halfway through my second playthrough on the next difficulty up, and it's a bit more satisfying and more appropriately stressful. But whatever you're playing on, it does put you in some zany, over-the-top monster combat situations, but they also do a couple of no combat horror moments that might actually be a bit too much for people. It's fantastic. Other than the partial village setting, the other small Resident Evil 4 inspiration is the merchant and the gun upgrade inventory system and all that. It plays like 4 did. You know, there's a merchant character. This guy, the Duke, is less mysterious and has a lot more to say and is appropriately really strange as hell, but he sells you items and you use coins you pick up from defeating enemies, and he can upgrade your weapons too. Rate of fire, ammo capacity, power, think stuff like that. And it's satisfying to slowly tune your gun up, just like it was in 4, way back when. He also sells weapon attachments too, and just like in other Resident Evil games of the past, you can stumble upon a cool attachment in the environment that makes your gun way cooler. It's very satisfying. That's what makes the exploration so rewarding here. There's collectibles and stuff like that, but there's also a layer of finding areas that have little animals and then kill those animals for meat and bring them back to the Duke, and if you have enough, he can essentially cook you a dish that improves your health or your block. So there's a lot, and that's all what makes the exploration good. You know, there's some pretty big missable areas and missable environments and a lot of cool guns you can get in the game. This is where some of the puzzle and cleverness lies. You know, stuff in the environment you just need to see out. The main story doesn't really have much in terms of puzzles, unfortunately. More just finding things and figuring out where to put them. It's not really a lot of thought required. And for me, the other big part of this game is the experience. The excellent visuals, some really great atmospheric sound design. When there isn't any action is where I think actually the game does best. The environment design is downright incredible, dude. The vistas and sights this game gives you at certain points are unlike anything I've seen in a game. I wish I could show you them all without spoiling things, but I can't. The game looks really damn great most of the time. Also on PS4 Pro, where we tested it as well, but please note, after talking to some friends, it doesn't seem like it has an FOV or field of view slider on PC, so be aware. For some people, that can be really bothersome. Lengthwise, it's pretty much on par with most Resident Evil games. It feels a bit longer than Resident Evil 7 for me personally. I clocked in at 9.5 hours on my first playthrough, taking my time. I've heard some people have shorter times, but I've had a couple of friends come closer to like 11 hours. Now, to some, that might sound like an outrage, but if you've played Resident Evil games, you know this is par for the course. These emphasize mastery and replayability, and this one has a lot of secrets and fun exploration, so I immediately jump back in just like I do with every single one of these. Post-game stuff is similar to 7. Accomplishments throughout your playthrough are tallied, and then you can spend points on concept art, character models, or weapons and help for your next playthrough. I like this. It's satisfying and it encourages grinding through the game a few times, and each time things get either a bit more challenging or more fun with getting access to crazier weapons. Now, after you beat the game, you can also access Mercenaries mode. It's a classic arcade-style fun challenge mode for fans. It's been around forever. We love it, but I appreciate the inclusion of it here, but it seems really simple and more of a shell of its former self, and it's not the same as it used to be. I'm gonna give it more time though. I didn't have too much time to play with this, but it just doesn't seem super involved or anything. It's not gonna like hook me too much. My one biggest sticking point without going into spoilers is the same issue I had with 7. It's some story stuff. I feel the same with Village as I did with Resident Evil 7. A pretty cool and interesting story for this new generation of Resident Evil games, but it really doesn't do anything at all for overall series fans. I'm not looking to be pandered with fan service or anything, but I just want something, because sometimes some of this craziness just feels a little meaningless. It's so hard to articulate and go into that without spoiling, so I can't really say anything, but in terms of just like a Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 8 follow-up, I think the story succeeds there and it does some really cool things. But just like 7, the way that this integrates itself into the broader series, or lack thereof, is disappointing. Still, don't get it twisted. I think Village is a lot of fun. Again, I don't know if it's always going to be as strong or as memorable as 7. I think you're going to have people that just really love 7 more, and some people that really love Village more. I still very much think this is worth experiencing. If you're a horror fan, a horror game fan, a new Resident Evil fan, or an old Resident Evil fan, they're still creating some really cool, really fun stuff that you should see out. But of course, this is a before you buy. You know how this goes down by now. I give you some pros, some cons, what the game is, and of course, a lot of personal opinion. So now I want to hear yours down in the comments. We've had our hands on this game for a few days, but if you breeze through in the last 24 hours or so since launch, I'd love to know what you think. Try and keep it spoiler free in the comments for other people who still haven't played the game. But let me know what you think about Resident Evil Village, maybe what's your favorite weapon, anything at all down in the comments. Now, I gotta say, thank you guys for watching our Before You Buy videos. I work very hard on these, so thank you for showing up. You probably know by now, but clicking the like button's all you gotta do. It helps us out, and we appreciate it. But I'm Jake Baldino. If you got anything else for me, you can yell at me on Twitter and Instagram at Jake Baldino. I'm working on some more Resident Evil videos for my side channel, youtube.com/Jake Baldino. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time.
Resident Evil Village places you in unfamiliar territory against a host of enemies, ranging from werewolves to giant vampire ladies, and plenty more. You'll soon find that while Village looks similar to Resident Evil 7, it also takes a lot of cues from RE2 Remake and even Resident Evil 4. Whether you're new to the series or a veteran zombie hunter, here are 13 essential tips you should know about ahead of time. Resident Evil Village will often throw small groups of enemies at you, and unlike the shambling zombies of games past, Lycans move in quick to stalk, strafe, and lunge at you. Make sure you utilize everything around you to even the playing field. Look for shelves to push in front of openings, or bags of flour you can hit to blind opponents, giving you more time to get off precise shots on distracted foes.
There's no way to them.
Many enemies can wield weapons that will deal even more
basement
damage than
thing
usual,
that I'm in, where I drop
but you
down.
can shoot them in the leg to
The
knock them
shotgun
down
only
and
gets
give
you
yourself
away
some
with that
breathing
fast.
room, or permanently disarm them with a shot to the arm.
Mr. Run!
Ethan's new combat training means you can not only block incoming attacks, but briefly holding block when an enemy strikes.
There ever
instead of
goddamn
just tapping the
crazy ass
button,
werewolf looking
will stop
things
their
trying to
advance
get
for a
in?
moment.
Nope.
Allow you to tap the block button once more to push the enemy back, which usually
ran that
slows
time
them
too.
just long enough to line up a headshot.
Let off some rounds.
If you're having trouble aiming, try adjusting the settings for camera and aim acceleration in the options menu. It will feel different for each person, but we found that turning it all the way off makes aiming accurately much easier. Yellow is the most important color in Village. Not only does it signify interactive objects, it can also help point the way forward or to helpful items and areas, so keep your eyes peeled. Breakable crates, ladders, switches, even bird cages will all have splashes of yellow, and if you see yellow rope on the ground, it may lead you to pools of water with fish you can hunt. Your inventory works a bit differently than in previous Resident Evil games. While it's similar in style to RE4, you don't have to actually worry about juggling keys or crafting components. With this in mind, grab every gunpowder, herb, and resource you can find. If you're worried about running out of actual inventory space, just wait until you need to heal or reload to start crafting. Speaking of inventory management, you'll eventually find alternate pistols and shotguns to use. If you like one variant over the other, don't be afraid to sell it to the Duke to make a tidy sum and free up some space. You'll even pay more if you've upgraded it a bit first. That said, if you are going to sell your extra pistol or shotgun, be sure not to waste ammo by using the entire clip first before swapping to your new weapon. Every bullet counts. One thing that does take up inventory space is animal and fish meat you can start harvesting a little ways into the game. You can unlock permanent upgrades from the Duke with enough ingredients, but the good news is he doesn't need all the ingredients at once, so offload your meats to him often to free up room.
Don't let up yet.
There's a lot of treasure to be found in Village, but be sure to take a moment to inspect it all. Sometimes treasure can be combined to increase its value by a huge amount, so it's worth waiting until you find the other part before combining it and selling it as one item. You can find a list of what treasure to combine in our full guide on IGN.com. Some treasure can be harder to spot than others, so be sure to inspect the environment carefully. If you see a glowing spot on the wall or ceiling, shoot it down to collect valuable crystals. You can also listen carefully for the faint creaking noise of bird cages twisting in the wind to shoot them down from the trees. You'll be returning to the village itself several times over the course of your adventure, but it will be at least a little bit different each time. Be sure to revisit previously explored areas to find new enemies, animals, and pathways to travel that weren't there before. Unlike the bulk of the village, there are certain contained areas of the game that you won't be able to return to for various reasons. Some are small like Louise's house in the village, and others can include much larger regions. We won't list them all here for obvious spoiler reasons, but always be sure to make one last sweep of an area before leaving to get any last hidden treasures, or you may miss out on some good loot that will be forever out of your reach. And those are our tips for surviving everything Resident Evil Village throws at you. Well, almost everything. You can check out our full RE8 guide on IGN for boss strategies, collectibles, and more tips, like how to get away from that relentless giant vampire lady. What tricks have you discovered? Let us know in the comments below, and for all your other survival horror needs, you're already in the right place. IGN.
There is a lot going on in Resident Evil Village. True to the series' identity, this is a dense game, and it throws formidable challenges at you that take many different forms and are always fun to overcome. And as you prepare to jump into Ethan's journey through this village of monstrosities, here we're going to list out a few handy pointers that will hopefully let you become better equipped to deal with Resident Evil Village's many horrors. Before we begin, please consider subscribing and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon. With that out of the way, let's get started. Blue is good. Regularly checking your map is a core part of most Resident Evil games, and so it is in Village 2. This is a tip that those familiar with the series will know all too well, but if you're a newcomer, always keep this in mind. If a room on the map is highlighted blue, that means it's cleared, and you've done everything here that you can do. If a room is red, there's still something that you haven't found, whether that's crafting components, ammo, items, or treasures. Keep an eye out for the shiny stuff. Speaking of treasures, Resident Evil Village brings back the shiny, sparkling treasures of Resident Evil 4. And just like in that game,
Carol killed her husband.
We stuck the walls, to the ceilings, to rafters, in nooks
Yeah,
that
Heister
only
was a
see
bit
from specific angles. Always survey your surroundings carefully, and if you see something sparkling, make sure to shoot it down. The cash you get from collecting treasures is invaluable. Some treasures can be combined. Again, just like in Resident Evil 4, some treasures can be combined with each other to make them more valuable. Don't immediately sell off every treasure that you find. Head to your list of treasures in the menu, and the game will tell you if a certain treasure can be combined with others. Fully completed treasure sets earn you significantly larger quantities of cash when sold to the Duke, so always keep that in mind. Explore thoroughly. This should go without saying, especially in a Resident Evil game, but we're gonna say it anyway, because it's important to remember. From missable treasures to animals to new weapons to notes and logs to even some secret bosses, Resident Evil Village has a lot of stuff hiding behind optional content that you can miss entirely.
Your mom's
So make
optional
sure that you
content.
Don't rush through the game. Anytime you enter a new area, explore it as thoroughly as possible. There's more to explore each time you return to the village. In fact, you should explore thoroughly not only when you're entering a new area, but also when returning to the older ones. You'll be returning to the village, which serves as a central hub multiple times throughout the game, and each time, you'll be able to head to new sections that were previously inaccessible. From being able to
Hey, that was
unlock
dope.
doors
You see his
to
little
being
gun
able
charms?
to head to new sections that were previously inaccessible.
Little
From
skulls
being
hanging
able
off
to
my
unlock
bitch.
doors to being able to head to far-off locations that you couldn't get to before, the village will expand each time you return to it. Every time you come back, make sure that you take some time to explore it some more before you resume the main quest again. Hunt all the animals. Animal hunting is a completely new mechanic in Resident Evil Village, and it's quite crucial. The Duke can cook up special meals to permanently increase your max health, guard defense, and movement speed, which, as you would expect, is very important. Animals are often hidden in secret and optional areas though, both in the village and in the locations that serve as the game's main dungeons, so to speak, so always keep an eye out for them. Checking your map is often a good idea, but remember that if your map is too zoomed out, spots where animals can be found will not show up on it. Oh, and one more thing,
like Red Dead?
Don't waste bullets on hunting animals. Use your knife. Don't waste money on upgrading the starting pistol. Like Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Village has you spending money to upgrade your weapons throughout the entire game. We'd recommend not immediately getting started on that though. More
Have you upgraded
specifically,
your starting
don't
pistol all the
waste
way
money
yet,
on
sir?
upgrading the pistol that you start the game with. You get a better pistol not long afterward,
No,
and it's
but-
better to save up and use your money to upgrade that instead. Crafting shotgun or sniper rifle ammo is better
Nobody
than
said
crafting
don't do
pistol
it.
ammo.
I know in some
You'll be
games,
picking
if
up
you
crafting
like-
resources and using them to craft ammo
Yeah, if you take
throughout
the risk,
Resident
once
Evil
it's max
Village.
upgraded, it'll
But
get like
if you
some
have a
special
choice,
ability or
it's better
something.
to use those to craft ammo for your shotgun or your sniper rifle than for your handgun. Handgun ammo drops are plentiful in the game, while the Duke also sells handgun bullets for pretty cheap prices.
He's fat.
Sure, sometimes you might find yourself with the Duke also sells handgun bullets for pretty cheap prices. Sure, sometimes you might find yourself with little to no ammo, in which case you'll have no choice but to use your resources to craft handgun bullets. But if you can help it, prioritize other, more powerful ammo types. Shoot crows.
Damn.
Just like Resident Evil 4, you can shoot down crows that you spot in your surroundings, and just like in Resident Evil 4, they often drop cash. If you're ever short on money, shooting crows is a pretty good way to build up a decent reserve. It'll drop massive quantities of cash, of course, and you also need to keep an eye on how much ammo you have and whether you can afford to waste it on shooting crows. But if you have dire need of money, they're a good last resort if nothing else. Shoot down the cages. Shooting crows might not always be worth it, but shooting cages almost always is. Often you'll find small yellow bird cages hanging from trees or ceilings in Resident Evil Village. Every time you do, make sure you shoot them down. They always give you either ammo
Why is
or
this sparkling?
crafting
Why is
resources,
this-
which is always useful. Prioritize inventory expansion purchases. Resident Evil Village brings back the Tetris-style briefcase inventory management of Resident Evil 4, and you can, of course, expand your inventory by purchasing briefcase expansions from the Duke. In fact, we'd recommend buying those as soon as and every time they become available. Expanding your inventory to make sure that you can fit the weapons you acquire throughout the game, in addition to all of the different ammo types and health items, is quite important, so prioritize these purchases over everything else. Guarding is crucial. Guarding is not a new mechanic. Resident Evil 7 had it as well, but it's much more important this time. You'll often be attacked by large mobs of enemies, which means you'll often find yourself cornered and surrounded. In these situations, guarding against attacks is crucial to avoid taking too much damage, especially if you increase your guard defense using the Duke's special meals. Properly timed guards also allow you to follow up by pushing enemies away, which can also give you invaluable
This guy's
windows to
taking
shoot
chunks
staggered
of
enemies while
a
creating
horse
some
and
breathing
dreams.
room for yourself. Turn off aim acceleration. Bafflingly, Resident Evil Village has aim acceleration on by default. In case you don't know what that is, as its name suggests, aim acceleration progressively increases the movement speed of your reticle while you're aiming down sights. It's an absolute nuisance and makes aiming extremely difficult and messy, which can make most combat encounters unnecessarily tough and sloppy. As soon as you begin to
Carol killed her husband. You
turn
won't have
off
a
adaptive adaptive triggers. If you're playing Resident Evil Village on a PS5, you're going to want to turn off adaptive triggers as well. The game doesn't use the DualSense's adaptive triggers as well as you'd hope. Every so often, the trigger will jam, leading to either missing your target completely or not being able to fire off a shot as well. It's just annoying. It gets in the way of enjoying combat. Give it a try yourself if you feel like, and see if you like the implementation better than we did, but we'd recommend turning it off in the settings as soon as you start playing. Mercenaries tips. Resident Evil Village brings back mercenaries after many years of demands from fans, and there are a few basic pointers you should keep in mind while playing it. For starters, cash is limited, so it's better to have 2 weapons in your inventory and focus on spending money on their upgrades rather than buying every weapon you possibly can. The good thing about this is that it'll let you sell off ammo for guns you're not using. For instance, if you're going with a handgun-shotgun combo, you're free to sell off any sniper rifle ammo that you find, which goes for a surprising amount of money, giving you more to spend on weapon upgrades for the guns that you have in your arsenal. And that brings us to the end of the video. A quick request before we conclude. We upload new videos every single day, and if you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing. It really, really helps us out. Also, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon so that you can receive daily video updates. Thanks for watching.
Resident Evil Village isn't just your run-of-the-mill horror game. It's a bit more involved. There's hidden treasure, a merchant, hunting, inventory management, and exploration. If you're new to the series or even survival horror in general, go for the knees. I know you're going to want to be a hotshot with your headshots, but in Resident Evil, going for the dome isn't always the best option. The game's werewolf-like enemies, Lycans, are unruly, fairly unpredictable dudes that scour the village. They'll go from gaining real quick on you to slowly stalking you as they get closer and closer. But don't be fooled. Aim for the head and they'll duck and juke out of the way, leading to some wasted rounds. It's annoying. Instead, a few shots to the knees will bring them down, allowing for opportune head shooting. The hitbox on their legs is also much more forgiving, making it easier to aim down and fire without getting too precise about it. And all the same principles apply to these cave-dwelling ghoulies sort of dudes. Just keep in mind that there's a variety of enemies in Village, some of which are more spongy, while others wear armor, so this tip isn't universal. However, you'll be fighting Lycans and ghouls the most, so this strategy will be the most exhausted in your encounters. Tip 2. Time your counters. If you block an attack, you have a small window of time to press block again and trigger a counter that'll kick your enemy back, which also disarms them, as well as having a knockback on ones around you. In some cases, when you're surrounded and overwhelmed, deliberately taking the hit, blocking it, and countering it pays off in disarming an enemy and staggering others to go in for that old tip number 1 and pop them in the knees. Tip 3. Sometimes it's okay to run, and no, it does not mean you're a coward.
What's wrong with my chicken?
The ghoulie dudes in particular are slow and don't prance around like the Lycans, so sometimes it's better to save your resources and simply go around them to get to where you're going. Now, in classic risk-reward fashion, killing them does reward you lei, the in-game currency, so just consider resources and environment before getting into an altercation. And as a bonus tip, it's still okay to run, but set a mine down while you're at it. Bullets and a knife aren't your only answers to a fight. In some scenarios, you will be surrounded on all sides, so turning and running is the only way to make some distance between you and the enemy. And while you're at it, set a mine down if you have one handy, then scurry off. Screw it, throw a pipe bomb at them too. On to exploration. Being thorough is the name of the game here, as it's vital to finding many things, from supplies for crafting, treasure for selling, and ammunition that is pivotal in your survival. And with each area being pretty dense and even
end to them. Is it over?
Hello. If there are any survivors out there, come to Louisa's house near the fields.
Survivors? Okay. Damn it.
There's no end to them.
What the fuck is that? No! No!
Is it? Over? Okay. There's no end to them.
fuck is going on? What the fuck? Goddamn Hagrid.
Wait, wait.
Picking my shrimp. Okay.
In life and in death, we give
Both
glory.
Hello? You shouldn't be out here. It's not safe.
Looking at you drawing something.
Hey, can you hear me?
It's you? the child's father.
Child? Hey, wait. Do you mean Rose? Is she here?
Rose! Rose, yes. She is in great danger. Since Mother Miranda brought her to the village, we have fallen into darkness.
What are you talking about? The monsters?
The castle bell heralds danger. They're coming!
No. Wait. Where's Rose? Who's Mother Miranda?
The bell tolls for us all. They're coming again!
Long now, bitch.
Rose is here?
Take it, bro. That shit. Easy lock to pick. Isn't.
Guess this leads to the castle.